This jet can't fly.
Prove it in 60 seconds and I'll make it an air ambulance.
This jet can't fly, the janitor says, raising a stained napkin. Victor Hunt explodes in laughter and points at him for the cameras. Prove it in 60 seconds and I'll make it an air ambulance. The crowd joins in, phones up, the echo of mockery slapping the hangar walls. 60. Victor taps his watch. 59. Security edges closer. Guests smirk and whisper. The janitor doesn't argue. He stands there with the napkin in his fist, eyes steady, while the room waits to enjoy his fall. But that single minute of contempt is about to bend the night. A public promise has just been made, and when the seconds run out, everyone will discover who's actually in control of the sky. Before we begin this emotional story, tell us in the comments from which city you're watching, and don't forget to leave your like to keep following us. Champagne cracked like tiny fireworks inside the Van Nuys hangar. The jet sat center stage, polished to a mirror, the kind of white that dares fingerprints. Suits clustered in a semicircle, stemware tilted, laughter crisp as ice. A violinist laced the air with luxury. Victor Hunt owned the scene the way a tide owns a shore. Cobalt suit, patent shoes, smile rehearsed and sharpened. He patted the nose of the plane for the cameras. To speed, he announced, lifting his glass, to never waiting in line. Ripples of approval moved through the crowd. Near the drafty hangar door, Mark Sullivan paused with a push broom. Faded work shirt, sleeves rolled, oil shadow on his forearm. Not old, just worn where life rubs hardest. He'd been sweeping, but the plane's whisper had hooked his ear. A thin drone braided with a jitter he knew in his bones. He set the broom aside. "This jet can't fly," he said, voice level. Heads turned, phones rose like a second audience. A few chuckles. Then the rich laughter found its mark. Victor's gaze skimmed Mark like a scuff on marble. "I'm sorry, does the janitorial department have an aviation degree?" Mark walked to the left wing route, took a white napkin from a catering tray, and pressed it into a seam no one else was watching. When he pulled it away, a purple stain bled into the cloth, sharp and chemical under the lights. "Hydraulic fluid, Skydrol," he said. "Smell it." A woman in black blinked. A man in a tux leaned, then leaned back. Victor didn't move. He snorted softly. "Condensation with an imagination." Mark's eyes went to the tail. The APU hummed low, steady. He climbed one step of the staircase and set a quarter on the stainless rail. "Watch," he said. The coin trembled, then shivered in place like it wanted to run. Mark touched the rail with 2 fingers. The coin began to dance. "Vibration," he said. "You'll pick up a harmonic on rotation. Play in the linkage plus a fluid leak. Bad math." Victor's smile broadened, brighter, meaner. He turned to the crowd, drawing them in like a stage magician selling the finale. "All right," he said loud. "Prove it in 60 seconds, and I'll convert this jet into an air ambulance for a year. Put my name on saving lives. Deal?" Applause snapped like dry twigs. Phones zoomed. The violin cut off mid-phrase. Mark's jaw worked once. "Deal." Victor checked his watch with theatrical precision. "Your minute starts now." Mark laid the stained napkin on the wing. The hangar quieted to the slow buzz of lights. He tapped the aileron hinge with his knuckle. The note came back with a faint warble, wrong in a way most ears wouldn't hear. He glanced at 2 late-arriving technicians who'd sidled close, faces tightened, hands already finding tools by memory. 30 seconds, Victor called, but a sliver of tin crept into his tone. Mark lifted a red, remove before flight ribbon from the rail and held it up, the color screaming against the white fuselage. The quarter tilted, spinning on its edge like a blade. "Ground it," Mark said softly, not to Victor but to the room. "Or you'll read about it, not ride in it." A slow hush swallowed the laughter. Even the cameras seemed to listen. The coin completed a tight circle and fell flat, still vibrating. The quarter lay vibrating like a tiny alarm the rich couldn't mute. A technician in a navy polo edged in, sniffed the napkin, and his face changed the way weather changes. Quietly, decisively. "Skydrol," he said to his partner. "Not condensation." Victor Hunt's smile froze, then rebooted into something tighter. "Gentlemen, check it if you must," he said, sweeping his arm as if granting mercy. I have nothing to hide. He looked at the nearest phone with a grin aimed at the algorithm. Transparency. That's why people trust me. A murmur moved through the semicircle. It sounded like interest turning into appetite. The violinist set her bow down. Behind the crowd, someone whispered, "The Billionaire CEO just got called out by the cleaning crew," and the line fluttered across 4 different live streams before it reached the back door. Mark Sullivan stepped off the staircase, hands low, gaze steady. He didn't posture. He didn't gloat. He watched the technicians work. A panel opened. A flashlight slid into the seam like a blade. A bore scope snaked, its cable quivering. The APU hum rolled under everything, a bass note only nerves could hear. Victor leaned toward Mark, voice pitched for the microphones. "You know what happens when people slander a company like mine?" The smile never reached his eyes. "They get introduced to attorneys who jog for fun." Mark's chin barely moved. "Ground the jet, Mr. Hunt." Victor's laugh was thin glass. "Or what? Your secret revealed is that napkin trick." He raised his hands to the crowd, stage bright. What happened next shocked everyone. He winked. He gets fired for disrupting a delivery. A few guests tittered, hungry to be on the winning team again. 2 security men drifted closer, black suits in the periphery like parentheses. The first technician straightened, eyes on his tablet. Pressure's low, traces in the bay. He met Victor's gaze and didn't blink. "Sir, we need to stand down and log a discrepancy. We can't sign this for flight." Silence pressed in. Even the phones seemed to hold their breath. Victor's jaw flexed once. "Run the numbers again," he said, silk fraying. Already did. The second tech lifted the coin with a fingertip. It trembled in the air. And that vibration's not nothing. Feels like play in the elevator linkage. A woman in a black sheath shook her head slowly, lips parted, the look of someone watching a chandelier loosen. The PR director, a man with careful hair, materialized at Victor's shoulder and whispered 3 nouns that tasted like threat. Liability, FAA, headlines. Victor's eyes flashed. He turned on Mark. "Who are you?" The charm peeled back. "You don't look like a mechanic." "I'm not," Mark said. "Not tonight." Victor stepped closer, cologne sharp as citrus. "Then you're nobody, and nobodies don't humiliate me." Mark didn't flinch. He let the red ribbon hang between them, a quiet wound. "You humiliated yourself when you made a bet with physics." A ripple of "oh" ran through the crowd. Security advanced a half step. Mark's supervisor, a harried man with a clipboard, hurried in, whispering, "Mark, please step back. You're making this messy." "It's already messy," Mark said, eyes still on Victor. "I didn't spill it." The PR director had his phone to his ear now. "Get legal down here. Print a statement about our commitment to safety." A new sound knifed the air, the high, distinct wail of a siren slicing down the access road, then cutting as it reached the hangar mouth. A white SUV rolled in, wash of blue strobes fading. 2 officials stepped out, airport badges, sober faces, clipboards like verdicts. Victor's smile tried, failed, and fell. Cameras tilted toward the door, hungry for the next angle. One of the officials scanned the scene, then fixed on the stained napkin, the open panel, the coin. She lifted her eyes to Mark. "Who called it?" she asked. Mark didn't point. He didn't speak. The technicians did. He did. The official nodded once, then turned to Victor. "Sir, we're issuing a temporary grounding pending inspection." Victor's throat worked around words only he could hear. His gaze flicked to the cluster of phones, then back to Mark, as if looking for a lever he hadn't pulled yet. The official raised her pen. "Name for the report?" Mark exhaled, slow, a veteran letting a memory land. "Sullivan," he said. "Mark Sullivan." The pen paused mid-air. The official's eyes narrowed with a glint of recognition, like a light catching an old scar. "Sullivan, and from where?" Mark's answer hung there, heavy as the jet. The official's pen hovered. "Sullivan? From where?" Mark kept his voice low. "Crew chief, C-17s, 62nd Aircraft Maintenance Squadron." A beat. "McCord, Kandahar rotation." Recognition slid across her face like a light finding metal. "Right. She nodded to her partner. Issue a temporary grounding. Open a discrepancy report. A do not fly placard was affixed at the entry. A red remove before flight streamer draped from the open panel, and the technicians logged the discrepancy in the aircraft logbook. The watching crowd inhaled as one. On 3 separate live streams, comments streaked up the screen. One read, "The Billionaire CEO just got schooled by the cleaning lady. Wrong on the gender, right on the power dynamic. It stuck anyway." Victor Hunt's smile recalculated and came back thinner. "Congratulations," he said, clapping once. "You stopped a party." He glanced at the nearest camera. "We put safety first. Always have." The PR director edged in. "Victor, you made a public commitment," he whispered, eyes cutting toward the phones. "Air ambulance." Victor laughed the way glass might, brittle and bright. A flourish. Entertainment. He faced the official. "Verbal jokes aren't contracts." "Neither are crashes," she replied, not smiling. "Your jet's grounded until signed off. If you continue to operate it, we elevate." 2 technicians exchanged looks that said this was already bigger than their pay grade. One produced a form, the other peeled a caution ribbon and looped it over the hatch. The coin still trembled on the rail, a nervous heartbeat no money could steady. Mark stood back, hands at his sides. He didn't gloat, he didn't film. He watched the red ribbons sway, as if the air itself were telling the truth. Victor stepped closer, voice pitched for the microphones circling like drones. "Let's be responsible," he said, varnishing the word. "I'll donate flight hours after it's fixed. Hospital transport. Good optics. Good cause." "After?" Chloe asked, brows knitting. "You said now." Now was theater. His eyes never left the lens. "And theater ends at curtain," the official scribbled on her clipboard. "Mr. Hunt, we need a signature acknowledging the grounding and the discrepancy. And we'll need the name of the individual who identified the hazard." Victor rolled his wrist, watch winking. He can sign, if he's so sure. He shifted, the jab sugar-coated. "Put your name on it, Sullivan. If you're wrong, you're out of a job. If you're right..." He flicked a glance at the crowd, gathering virtue like a coat. "We'll make good on the ambulance hours after inspection." Mark looked to his supervisor, a man suddenly very interested in his clipboard. He took the form. "I'm not here for a job," Mark said, pen steady. "I'm here so no one dies for a shortcut." He signed Mark Sullivan, the letters tight, disciplined. The official countersigned, then tore a yellow copy and handed it to him like a quiet medal. Victor's jaw worked. The PR director murmured, "This is viral across 3 platforms, headlines by morning." A second voice, tinny from a speaker, piped up, "Legal on the line." Words like liability and promissory and recorded promise cracked through the air. Victor lifted a champagne flute he hadn't touched. "Fine," he said, the syllable bitten. "Draft something symbolic. We pledge, on record, to convert this aircraft for medical missions after it passes inspection." He let the sentence hang, crafted for spin. Chloe's mouth flattened. "That's not what you said." Mark's eyes shifted once, taking in the faces, the bored, the delighted, the suddenly concerned. "Don't say it for them," he said quietly to Victor. "Say it for the people who need the ride." A hush gathered, thicker than the earlier silence. The official turned the form around to Victor, pen ready. Cameras leaned. Even the violinist stood motionless, bow at her side. Victor accepted the pen, the muscles in his hand tensing. He looked up at Mark, searching for a lever, a price, a weakness. "I'll sign," he said, voice smooth as a runway. "On one condition." The hangar held its breath. The hangar held its breath around Victor Hunt's smile. "One condition," he said, pen poised like a small knife. "You sign an NDA and a release, no press, no claims. I'll honor my pledge after inspection, quietly." A few guests nodded, grateful for tidy endings. The airport official didn't. "Irrelevant to safety," she said. "Grounding stands either way." Victor's gaze stayed on Mark Sullivan. "Do we have a deal, janitor?" Mark's work shirt creased when he breathed. "I'm not selling the truth," he said. "If you meant your promise, you don't need my silence." The PR director whispered legalese. Counsel on a speakerphone added, "We're live on multiple streams. Retaliation risks escalation." The word escalation bounced off aluminum ribs. A woman stepped out, hospital badge catching the light. "Dr. Reyes," she said, We lost a cardiac patient last month waiting for transport. Air hours aren't theater. If you're the man you say you are, sign what you said. Eyes moved from her to Victor, to the stained napkin and the quarter still trembling on the rail. Someone murmured, "The billionaire CEO is haggling with a janitor," and the line fluttered across a row of phones. The official slid a pledge across a catering cart. The language was soft. Consider, explore, subject to availability. Mark read it once. He took the pen, not to sign, but to fix. He drew clean lines through consider and explore, wrote provide. He cut subject to availability and printed minimum 200 flight hours to accredited EMS partners within 12 months, using this aircraft upon clearance. Then 4 plain words, no NDA, no retaliation. A ripple went through the semicircle. The technicians looked up. The official's mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Clear," she said. Victor stared at the edits like graffiti on marble. "Bold," he said softly, "for a man with a broom." "You wanted a condition," Mark replied. "So do I. Mean it." Security took a half step. The official raised a hand, stopping them as if a wire caught their belts. The PR director hissed, "Optics!" Counsel added, "It's already on record. Fighting makes tomorrow's headline." Victor rolled his shoulders, searching for a face that fit. "What if I donate a different jet?" he tried. Dr. Reyes shook her head. "The one you promised, the one they're filming." Beyond the doors, a distant departure rumbled. Victor lifted the pen. He hovered over this aircraft as if the words burned, then pressed down. Victor Hunt, ink thick as pride. The signature bled into the paper, permanent, imperfect. He set the pen aside without looking at Mark. "There," he said, "satisfied?" "I'll be satisfied," Mark answered, eyes flicking to the red ribbon, "when it flies for the right reasons." A hush lifted, not relief, not yet. Victor's eyes hardened. "And you," he said, chin tipping. "You're done here." Mark's supervisor flinched. Security's shoes whispered forward. Mark didn't move. The official tucked the signed page into a folder like evidence. The APU's hum deepened. The coin shivered harder, then tilted on its edge as if the aircraft itself had an answer. It spun a tight circle and fell flat, still trembling. Security drifted in like closing quotation marks. The taller guard reached for Mark's elbow. The airport official lifted her clipboard, steady as a stop sign. "Touch him and I file retaliation against the safety whistleblower," she said. The guards froze mid-step. Victor Hunt's smile returned, lacquer over steel. "No one's touching anyone," he told the phones. "We're simply restoring order." He looked past the lenses at Mark. "Collect your things." Mark unpinned his badge. The plastic square sat in his palm a moment, then he set it beside the stained napkin, 2 truths cooling on chrome. "Order is grounded," he said. A murmur traveled the semicircle. Chloe's screen filled with comments, hearts, gasps, verdicts. The technicians worked in quiet counterpoint. Panel secured. A red, remove before flight streamer looped through the latch. A do not fly placard hung at the entry, and the discrepancy hit the logbook. The PR director appeared with a paper grin. "Mr. Hunt will announce a generous medical pledge tonight," he told the cameras. He pivoted to Mark. "And we thank Mr. Sullivan for his vigilance as part of our valued staff." Mark's supervisor swallowed on valued. He took a step, then retreated, tethered by paycheck and pride. "Why do you know that sound?" Chloe asked quietly. Mark rubbed a pale scar at his wrist. "Because once it was louder," he said, "and men didn't come home." Dr. Reyes took him in, a physician measuring vital signs. "Crew chief?" He nodded. Victor clapped once, bright and brittle. "Let's wrap, people. We celebrate engineering, schedule inspection, save lives after." He tapped the pledge folder under the official's arm, selling virtue to the lens. A siren sliced the night, urgent, close. The hangar doors yawned. 2 paramedics jogged in, winded. "Dr. Reyes?" one called. She raised a hand. "Here." "Multi-car pileup on the 405, he said. 1 critical, 2 unstable. Medevac grounded by basin fog. We need a fixed wing to Bakersfield now. Kern can take them." Heads pivoted toward the jet by instinct. The red ribbon fluttered against white. The quarter on the rail trembled as if answering. Victor's jaw tightened, calculations flickering. "My aircraft is temporarily unavailable," he said smoothly. "We'll coordinate alternatives. My team has relationships." "We called 3 donors," the paramedic said. "Nothing fast enough. 30 minutes is the difference." 30 hung in the air like a lit fuse. Mark looked from ribbon to stain to coin. "King Air, Pilatus. Any night-rated EMS on the ramp?" "Charter's 2 hours," the paramedic said. "Fog's killing options." Victor spread his hands. Helplessness performed. "And I just acknowledged grounding. Safety comes first." He met the nearest lens with curated regret. "What happened next shocked everyone," someone typed beneath a live feed. Mark stepped to the official. "Patch me to ops," he said, "and Mercy Air Kern." He didn't look at Victor. His voice tightened, field clean. "This is Sullivan, former 62nd. Need a slot and a pressurized bird," Chloe whispered. "Does he really?" Dr. Reyes answered without looking away. "We're about to see." The official raised her handset, eyes narrowing. "Ops is on," she said. "They know your name." Victor's smile cracked at the edges. Mark faced the runway's dark mouth, listening to a voice only he could hear. "Copy," he said into the radio. "I can crew a King Air. Call sign Sierra 12 if she's still on the field." A beat. "Affirm. 10 minutes." He handed the radio back, gaze level. "Hold the patient," he told the paramedics. "We're moving them without this jet." The hangar went still, every sound turning into a countdown. Static hissed through the handheld. "Sierra 12, copy," a calm woman said. "Captain Avery Shaw, King Air B200 on the south ramp, IFR and pressurized. What's your patient's status?" Mark moved with the paramedics. "1 critical, 2 unstable," he said, voice trimmed to mission length. "Primary is trauma, SATs falling. Estimate 170 pounds, need immediate hop to Bakersfield. Fog ceiling 800. "Filed and ready," Avery replied. "Bring them curbside. I'll light the cabin." Victor Hunt tracked Mark with a stare meant to hold. "See?" he told the nearest phones. "Even grounded, I inspire solutions." To the paramedics, "My foundation will cover fuel." "We'll log that," the airport official said, neutral as paper. They pushed into the night, runway lights threaded like beads, fog a low lid. The King Air waited squat and purposeful, nav lights pulsing. Avery dropped the air stare, blonde hair knotted, eyes already measuring Mark without ceremony. "Sullivan," she said, like a tool she trusted. "Cabin's hot, O2 prepped. You're on straps and monitors." Mark took the gurney's head with the medics. Plastic crackled, buckles clicked. The monitor began its thin electronic hymn. He cinched straps with hands that remembered desert nights and cargo nets, the choreography of saving weight and saving lives. Dr. Reyes climbed in after. "SATS 84, she said, tight. "We need wheels up." A line chief jogged over. "Fuel truck's delayed," he called. "You can launch on current, but the turnback margin is thin." Victor arrived at the air stair, smile remastered for the lens. "Authorize the fuel. Put it on my card," he said. Then to camera. "Compassion in action." Avery's eyes flicked to Mark. "Your call." "You want credit?" Mark said to Victor, even, almost gentle. "Fund it and step back." Victor lifted his chin, considered, and nodded. Fuel flowed. Inside, the plane breathed to life, switches snapping, fans whirring, purpose waking bone by bone. Avery leaned toward Mark. "Ops says your billionaire is already trying to soften that pledge," she murmured, not unkind. "Not my problem if we launch," Mark said. "It's my problem if we don't." He dropped into the jump seat, headset on. "Pre-start complete. Props clear. Condition levers low idle." "Copy," Avery said. "Ignition. Start." Turbines rose, a bright whine cutting the fog. The air stair lifted. Mark watched the numbers climb on the monitor. Dr. Reyes squeezed a gloved hand, whispering a promise the patient might never hear. Back at the hangar mouth, the red ribbon on Victor's jet fluttered like a small wound, refusing to close. Phones hovered. The PR director rehearsed sorrow with his eyebrows. Chloe stood apart, eyes on Mark, as if choosing what mattered in real time. "Tower, Sierra 12, ready to taxi. Medical priority," Avery said. "Cleared to taxi Alpha to 27, Tower replied. "Expedite, traffic inbound." The King Air rolled. Concrete ticked beneath the wheels, a metronome for courage. The fog pressed lower, runway lights blurred into halos. Halfway to the hold short, a shout knifed the night from the hangar. "Stop that aircraft!" Avery's hand hovered over the throttle. Mark looked out at the runway, then back toward the voice, the whole hangar's vanity reaching after them like a shadow that hated to be left. "Stop that aircraft!" The shout cracked across concrete, trailing the flash of a yellow beacon. An airport SUV rolled from the hangar mouth toward taxiway Alpha, light bar washing the fog in amber. Avery's hand hovered over the throttles. "Tower, Sierra 1-2 holding short," she said steady. "Vehicle on Alpha." "Copy, Sierra 1-2, Tower answered. "Hold position. Ops vehicle entering. Stand by." Inside the King Air, the monitor stuttered its thin alarm. Dr. Reyes leaned over the patient, hands sure. "Sat 79, she said, voice tight under the turbine whine. "We're fading." Mark unbuckled, slid to the stretcher, checked tubing, repositioned the mask, lifted the jaw with practiced gentleness. "Breath in, partner," he murmured, the word partner landing like a bridge. The numbers trembled, then grudgingly climbed a notch. The ops SUV braked off the nose wheel. Victor Hunt stepped out beside it, coat flaring like a flag. He cupped his hands and shouted, "Liability! That aircraft has my fuel authorization. There are conditions." He gestured toward his PR director, who filmed with both thumbs, hungry for a pivot. Avery's eyes stayed on the yellow beacon. "Tower, advise," she said. Before Tower could, the airport official from the hangar strode into the wash of the SUV's lights, clipboard tucked like a badge. She spoke into her radio, calm, clipped. "Ops clear Alpha. Medical priority stands. The interference is non-operational." The tower frequency crackled. "All vehicles vacate Alpha. Sierra 1-2 proceed to 27. Expedite." Victor turned to the official. "You don't tell me..." She didn't raise her voice. "I tell the runway what flies. Step back, Mr. Hunt." He smiled for the phones, but his eyes were knives. "Mention my pledge," he called to Mark, voice sugared. "Make sure they know who paid for the fuel." Mark kept his hands on the stretcher's rails. "Paying for gas isn't the same as saving a life," he said, without looking up. The SUV rolled aside, amber light slipping away across wet tarmac. Avery eased the King Air forward, the nose wheel whispering over painted lines. Taxiway lights blinked by like patient stars. "Tower, Sierra 1-2, ready? Medical priority," Avery said at the hold short. "Winds calm, runway 27 cleared for immediate departure," Tower replied. "Traffic 2-mile final, roll without delay." Dr. Reyes checked the monitor. 78, she said. "Mark?" "I've got the bag," he answered. He sealed the mask, squeezed, counted, the rhythm of breath turning the cabin into a metronome against panic. Avery advanced the throttles. The engines answered with a braided roar, purpose climbing the spine of the aircraft. Fog pushed over the runway like a slow animal. Centerline lights tunneled ahead in white beads. At the hangar's mouth, Victor stood in the beacon's dying glow, smaller now, phone still lifted like a shield. Chloe lowered hers, watching instead with her own eyes, something unpurchasable settling in her face. "Power set," Avery said. "Alive," Mark answered, eyes on the monitor, hand steady on the bag. The stretcher straps sang softly under acceleration. "Rotate," Avery called, the nose lifted. Tires skated light. Fog reached up, soft hands or blindfold, no way to know until you're in it. The runway fell away like a dropped rope, and the King Air climbed into white. The King Air climbed into milk. The world narrowed to cockpit glow, and the rhythmic hiss of oxygen through plastic. Avery Shaw flew by instruments, voice unruffled. "Kern approach, Sierra 1-2, medevac priority, out of 1,000 for 5. "Kern approach, radar contact," the speaker replied. "Cleared direct Rassel, maintain 5,000. Expect vectors ILS 29er. In the cabin, Dr. Reyes leaned over the stretcher. The monitor complained in thin beeps. 77, she said. "Airway wants to quit." Mark adjusted the mask seal with 2 fingers, lifted the jaw, squeezed the bag to a steady cadence. 2, 3, release. "Stay with me," he murmured, his voice the kind a storm obeys. Turbulence ticked, a handshake from the fog. Over it, another sound threaded the air, a faint tremor you had to know to hear. Mark's shoulders went still, then eased. "Fine," he said, mostly to himself. "Different bird, different story." Avery's voice drifted back. "You always hear the subtext?" "Some sounds follow you," he said. Flash, sandlight, and the cavern of a C-17, cargo slung down its spine, the night outside Afghanistan black as forgetting. A quiver in a hinge, a note not in the checklist. Mark's knuckles tapped aluminum, heard the wrongness, grounded the sortie. The contractor called him dramatic. His CO called him early retired. After the board, recruiters stopped returning calls. A year later, he held a broom the way he used to hold torque wrenches, and he learned people don't look at the man who cleans their reflections. Back in the present, the paramedic threaded an IV. "Pressure's low," she said. "We need 10 more minutes than we have." "You have 9, Avery said. "Approach, request straight in if able." "Approved. Cleared ILS 29er straight in. Report established." On Chloe's screen, miles behind them, comments multiplied under a paused frame of Victor Hunt in amber light. He promised. Make him pay. Promissory estoppel. One law nerd typed. Spell check fighting the word. Victor's PR man posted a caption about leadership, then deleted it, then posted again with new adjectives. None stuck. "Kern Tower has ground ambulance staged," Avery said, or team alerted. Dr. Reyes's gloved fingers never stopped moving. "Mark," she said, "slow squeeze, keep the chest rise shallow, she's teetering." Mark nodded, counting breaths like beads. The patient's eyes flickered, then lost focus. He leaned closer, a soldier whispering across a gap. "You've got people," he said. "I can hear them in the way your heart fights. Don't make them drive home in silence." The monitor faltered, then climbed a notch. Stubborn, like someone taking the next stair because the one below wasn't enough. "Localizer alive," Avery said. Glide slope captured. "Field in sight?" Approach asked. "Negative, we're in the wash," Avery replied. Continuing. Mark felt the descent in his ribs. The world outside stayed white. Dr. Reyes checked the laryngoscope, a bright silver answer waiting on cloth. "If she dips again, I'm tubing en route. Minimums," Avery breathed. The fog thinned, runway lights blooming like coins on velvet. Runway in sight. Landing. Tires bit with a soft shout. Reverse pitch throbbed through metal and bone. The aircraft decelerated. The ambulance lights painted the fog in blue. "Kern Tower, Sierra 1-2 off 29er at Charlie," Avery said. "Request immediate ground to EMS." "Approved, EMS rolling." The door cracked open. Night air shoved in, honest and cold. Mark unclipped, already on the straps. Dr. Reyes met his eyes. "Ride the ambulance," she said. "Don't let her fall between breaths." He nodded once, no speech, just motion. And as the stretcher wheeled toward waiting hands, Mark's phone vibrated in his pocket. An unknown number, Los Angeles area code, ringing like a future he hadn't ordered. The ambulance bucked through city lights, siren braided with the monitor's thin alarms. Mark kept the bag valve mask sealed, counting in his head. 2-3 release, his forearm steady against the stretcher's rail. Dr. Reyes watched the numbers fight. 76, she said. "Hold her there." "Her." The word clicked. A photo taped to the patient's ID band showed 2 kids with gap-toothed smiles. Single mother, Mark thought, and the breath he pushed turned heavier, like he could loan her his lungs. His phone buzzed against his thigh. Unknown LA number. He ignored it. Another buzz. He ignored that too. At Kern, ER doors burst, blue coats swarmed, and the stretcher vanished into white. Dr. Reyes paused in the threshold, palm on the crash bar, eyes on Mark. 9 minutes, she said. "You gave her 9. Mark leaned against cinder block, sweat cooling fast under a cheap fluorescent sun. The phone buzzed again. He stepped into a quiet alcove and answered. "Mr. Sullivan?" A voice as smooth as a glass table. "Graham Pike, Counsel for Hunt Aerospace. We appreciate your enthusiasm. For everyone's sake, let's resolve this privately. A severance, a non-disclosure, a written clarification of your statements." Mark stared at the scuffed floor tile. "No. Consider your future," Pike said. You're a janitor who played mechanic on camera. That looks reckless in court. Mark's thumb traced the pale scar at his wrist. I played human, he said, and ended the call. The phone rang again immediately. Different number. Don't hang up, Chloe said, breathless. It's Chloe, the one with the red nails. I have the full clip of Victor's promise, clean audio. Prove it in 60 seconds and I'll make it an air ambulance, word for word. I'm uploading. I don't need... You also need to know something. Paper rustled. A reporter dug your name. You're the crew chief who grounded a C-17 in Kandahar and refused to sign an NDA when the contractor pushed back. They blackballed you. That's why you're holding a broom. Mark didn't answer. A vending machine hummed. A fluorescent light ticked. Chloe's voice softened. People are calling you the poor janitor who embarrassed a billionaire CEO. But the secret revealed is you kept people alive before he ever bought a jet. Across the ER hall, an orderly wheeled past with fresh linen. Mark watched the sheet corners ride the air like white flags. Don't make me a headline, he said. I won't, Chloe said. I'll make him keep his word. Another buzz. Text incoming. It was the airport official, a photo of the signed pledge, Victor's name, black ink and ego. Board meeting at Hunt Tower, 8 a.m., press invited. Bring the copy. Outside, dawn thinned the sky to steel. Mark stepped into it. The air smelled like coffee and hot brake pads. A black SUV idled by the curb. A man in a perfect coat waited with a manila envelope too fat to be innocent. Mr. Sullivan, he said, smile soft as rot. A generous offer to correct tonight's confusion. Mark glanced at the envelope, then at the hospital doors. Keep it, he said. The man's smile cooled. You'll regret... Mark's phone chimed again. A new message from Dr. Reyes, a simple line. She's in surgery, stable for now. He closed his eyes. When he opened them, the SUV was still there, engine purring like a patient lie. Tell Victor, Mark said, turning away. I'll see him at 8. He walked into the grey morning with the pledge copy in his pocket, a promise heavier than money. Hunt Tower's boardroom floated above Los Angeles like a glass ship. Cameras crowded the back wall. A stock ticker scrolled red along a muted screen. Victor Hunt stood at the head of the table in a charcoal suit that looked bulletproof until you watched his hands. They wouldn't stop finding each other. Our commitment to safety, he began. Chloe stepped forward and airplayed a clip onto the wall. Victor in the hangar, smiling like a marquee. Prove it in 60 seconds and I'll make it an air ambulance. Clean audio. No wiggle room. The room exhaled as one. The airport official set a folder on the table, its tab reading Grounded Community Medical Support Pledge. She slid out the page with Victor's signature next to Mark's edits. Provide minimum 200 flight hours, no NDA, no retaliation. Graham Pike, the company attorney, cleared his throat and said the phrase that tasted like chalk, promissory estoppel. Reporters wrote it down like a new kind of storm. Dr. Reyes stood near the window, scrubs under a blazer. The single mother from last night is out of surgery, she said. Her kids are drawing her a welcome back sign. The room held the sentence like a candle. The board chair, Elaine Carter, looked from the pledge to the ticker. Victor, this isn't philanthropy. It's integrity on credit, she said. And the bill is due. The doors opened. Mark Sullivan stepped in wearing the same faded work shirt, the broom long gone. He didn't belong to the room and somehow made the room belong to him. Cameras tilted. Someone whispered, "The billionaire CEO versus the janitor," like an old headline that had already lost. Victor attempted a smile. "Mr. Sullivan, if you'd like to apologize for..." "For what?" Mark asked, gentle as a level placed on a table. "For hearing what your engineers missed? For not letting a bet outrun a heartbeat?" Silence held. Elaine tapped the pledge. "We'll need a formal conversion order. Medical interior, STC, oxygen racks, litter system, EMS radios, executed today. Contract with Mercy Airkern and affiliate hospitals. Schedule first flights within 60 days. Pike winced. 60 days is ambitious. "It's the difference," Dr. Reyes said quietly. Victor searched for an exit that didn't exist. He settled for a pivot. "Fine, we'll..." "No wheel," Chloe said, lifting her phone to the microphones. When? Elaine slid a pen across the table. Victor signed. The flourish he'd used for parties looked smaller in daylight. Reporters called out, "Are you firing Mr. Sullivan?" The official lifted a hand. "Retaliation after a recorded safety report invites federal attention." Elaine turned to Mark. "We can offer a role. Safety liaison for the ambulance program. Pay that matches the work. No NDAs." Mark glanced at the city. The morning had broken into honest blue. "I'll take the job," he said, "on one condition." The room braced. "No press conference with my face. Put the camera on the patient walking out." A beat, then something like relief moved through the glass ship. 3 weeks later, under noon sun, a newly fitted jet rolled from the hangar, white with a blue band, tail number the same, purpose not. Victor watched from behind tinted glass as the logo on the door gave way to a star of life. The crowd didn't look up at the windows. On the ramp, Mark checked straps and oxygen pressure, his hands steady as prayer. Chloe filmed the plane only until the doors closed, then lowered her phone to watch with her own eyes. Dr. Reyes climbed aboard. A child's drawing, crayon hearts, "Thank you," flapped in the warm breeze, taped to the fence. Victor's reflection in the window looked smaller than the sky. The jet lifted, not for speed, not for status, but for someone who needed to breathe on the other side of distance. And that was the whole point. In the end, the loudest thing was not the engines, but a choice. Mark Sullivan never chased applause. He kept his promise the way good hands keep a pulse, quietly. He took the safety role, wrote checklists no ego could bend, and asked that the cameras point not at him, but at doors opening, a patient stepping into daylight, a child running into arms that almost didn't make it home. Dignity for him was the work done after the crowd went silent. Victor Hunt learned to live with the sound of his own signature. It didn't erase what he'd said in that hangar, but it forced his mirror to tell the truth. He watched the jet he once polished for parties depart with oxygen racks and litter locks, watched strangers' lives thread through his decisions. He didn't get revenge against the man who corrected him. Instead, he faced a quieter enemy, his pride, and started listening. There's a kind of humility that doesn't ask for forgiveness out loud, but earns it one flight at a time. And the single mother who rode through fog that night. Weeks later, she walked out of the hospital between two kids in paper crowns. The hospital doors breathed open, blue sky waited like a promise kept. Mark stood back, unseen, and let their laughter lift. He didn't need to win. He needed them to live. That's the story. Arrogance grounding itself, truth taking off, and a plane that finally learned what wings are for. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this heart-touching story. Tell us in the comments which part moved you the most. Subscribe and turn on the bell to receive more stories that inspire and transform. Leave a like if you believe in the invisible strength of dignity and family. And above all, thank you for being part of this community that believes in stories with soul. And before you go, watch the story I leave here on the left. I'm sure it will also move you and make you reflect.